Hello, movie. How to judge authorities? Oh, we don't have those anymore. William Brink, Ph.D., who's always on the cusp of greatness, or perhaps failure. Judging authorities at the circus, apparently.
It's a good book. I enjoyed reading it. But it only complicated my problem. Made it harder than ever to decide whether I should consider a legal career.
Sir, this is a Wendy's. Send tweet.
Mr. Hunter, for 3 years now, you've helped me plan my courses. What do you think I should do?
I think you should leave. You graduated 2 years ago.
Helping you plan your courses is my job, Bill. But you'll have to think out for yourself the factors affecting your career. Tell me, though, how did the book complicate your problem?
Well, I went down to interview Mr. Morley. He's a successful lawyer downtown and head of the Bar Association, you know.
Sounds like a cool guy.
He told me all about the opportunities and the work and what he did. And I said to myself, boy, that's the life for me.
Okay.
But then this book.
Dianetics. Have you read it?
Well, Mr. Hunter, the author doesn't seem to think too highly of law as a profession. Look here.
On page 42, he calls lawyers fart heads.
He says things like dull and of heartbreaking study, years of drudgery,
That checks out.
so many unhappy, unsuccessful lawyers.
Yep.
Things like that make me wonder whether I'm right in listening to Mr. Morley.
And his podcast blows.
That's how the book has complicated my problem. Here I have the advice of 2 different people, and they completely disagree.
Kid, I'm being indicted. I'd literally kill to have your
Well,
problems.
Bill, you're going to have to decide whose advice you'll take.
But how?
With your brain, dingus.
Have you considered each of them as an authority?
No, sir, but
You remember the method you learned in your civics class, don't you?
yes.
Why
Eeny,
not
meeny,
apply it
miny,
here?
mo.
You can sit over there, and when you're through, we'll plan your courses after you've judged your authorities.
Ding, 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 ding.
Yes,
Teacher Lilo.
by judging his authorities, Bill can decide which one to follow. And he must judge well, for it's a vital problem, a problem all of us face from day to day.
Whether to be a lawyer?
Mr. Penner, author of The Professional Careers, and Mr. Morley, prominent lawyer.
And Christmas
He will
Ghost.
judge them on 3 counts: the internal evidence, the author's experience,
And swimsuits.
and Bill's own experience.
Yeah.
First, internal evidence.
Like DNA?
That is, whatever clues to authority can be found in the speech, magazine article, or book itself.
You mean I gotta read?
Based on his study of the book, Bill decides that Mr. Penner does score on this point.
He pwns Morley, eviscerates him, schools him, if you will.
Checking the book closely, Bill finds that the publisher is reputable, and the copyright date is recent.
Wow, 1932.
So there is the internal evidence of Mr. Penner's authority. Now, what of Mr. Morley?
Yo.
What did he have to say?
Some boring crap about jurisprudence or whatever.
Bill, there's nothing as satisfying as this kind of work.
Now, would you please leave?
I have so many opportunities to work for justice and equality.
And huge-ass settlements.
Interpreting the law takes a lot of skill, you know. Of course, it's a long, hard pull to achieve any kind of success as a lawyer.
Yeah, did you have to word it that way?
But once you've come through it, you'll look back on it with pride. Yes, Bill, this is wonderful work.
Now, can I borrow $10?
Well, the internal evidence shows Mr. Morley also to be clear and convincing. But does the fact that law is satisfying to him mean that it will satisfy Bill?
Yes?
No.
No,
what he
right,
said
no,
had
of course,
almost
no.
nothing to do with Bill.
Smells like mothballs.
Well, that's a question.
What's the question?
And there's no evidence to indicate that Mr. Morley has considered all sides. He was asked a question, and he gave an answer. On the basis of internal evidence, which authority would you choose to follow?
Wikipedia?
Bill chalks one up for Mr. Penner. Now to examine the author's experience. What is there in the author's background that qualifies him to speak on the topic?
Hey, yeah!
Bill doesn't really know anything about Mr. Penner.
Oh, he's got a dumb name.
Here, perhaps Who's Who will help.
Oh, that thing's a scam. I paid $35. Now I'm listed in Who's Who among America's haberdashers.
So, Mr. Penner is a Ph.D. and a psychologist. He's a vocational guidance expert and on the staff of the Vocational Guidance Institute.
Vocational Guidance
That's Vocational
Vocational
Guidance
Guidance Institute.
and so many people come to see him. He certainly is an authority on vocations, the qualifications needed and opportunities available.
And he can juggle.
But he has never been a lawyer himself.
Oh, so he's a fraud and a
So
liar.
Bill makes a note that Mr. Penner speaks from observation.
Boo.
What about Mr. Morley's experience?
Buckle up.
He himself has come through the years of drudgery of which Mr. Penner writes. He is a lawyer, a successful one. And in his position as head of the Bar Association, he meets many other lawyers, both successful and unsuccessful.
And hits on all of their wives.
So let's say that Mr. Morley speaks from observation and from experience.
Okay.
So on the basis of the author's experience, how would you judge the authorities?
Harshly.
Bill gives this point to Mr. Morley, and the score stands 1-1.
Man, lawyer leaderboards are boring as crap.
Now, what will Bill's own experience tell him about these authorities? That is, which authority seems more valid to him? In the last analysis, Bill's own experience, his knowledge of the subject and of himself, must guide his judgment.
Screw it, I'm going to
Just
Denny's.
as your own knowledge and experience must serve as a guide when you judge authorities. Internal evidence, author's experience, own experience.
And swimsuits.
By these three standards, Bill has judged his authorities and come to a decision.
He's gonna be a toll booth attendant.
And what did Bill decide? Well, what do you think?
I think he decided to marry Penner and kill Morley. Wait, what was the question? Thank you so much for watching Fun with Shorts. This series is supported by Patreon and patrons like these wonderful people right here. They get early access to new episodes and exclusive episodes every month. Also, check out the updated funwithshorts.com for DVDs and merch and all the good stuff. Thank you so much, everybody. I'll see you next time.